Hello and welcome to GatherVerse Safety Summit 2024. And what an amazing fireside chat that was with Lynn, who is actually here with us. Hi, Lynn. And also with Elizabetta as well. But on this roundtable, we're going to have a very interesting discussion about protecting my body, thoughts and identity, and understanding AI's influence on personal autonomy. If everyone could please mute their microphones, that would be much appreciated. And then we will get into the fireside discussion. My Wi-Fi is apparently terrible. Okay, interesting. Okay, so yeah, if you could mute your microphone, and so same with you, David. And then we'll jump straight into this conversation. David, if you can mute your microphone as well. David, Majisu?
I can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you. If you can mute your microphone, that'll be good. Can you mute your microphone, please? Okay. Anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to do a 30-second introduction with each panelist, and then also myself as well. And then we'll get straight into the conversation with you. If you can mute your microphone. For some reason, it's not coming up that you've muted your microphone. So if you could do that, that'd be good. Can you mute your microphone, please?
So I think we're having a little bit of technical difficulty with Russell. We're going to have him restart his Wi-Fi and hop back in. We want to do introductions, and we're happy to have everybody for this panel. This discussion is very important when it comes to protecting my body, thoughts, and identity, your autonomy, and understanding what that means in this world of artificial intelligence that we find ourselves in. With that said, we're going to do brief introductions to those who've come to assemble with us now. And Lynn, we want to kick this off, and we also want to understand what's the importance of you arriving to this roundtable discussion. Briefly, please. We'll begin with Lynn.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me for this panel. I'm Lynn Gitao. I'm here in Nairobi, Kenya, and I'm very excited to be here. And I serve as a communications director for GatherVerse. And the reason for me why I am here is I'm concerned about safety, and I want to learn from everyone. And I find these topics very intriguing. I want to be part of them. Thank you.
Absolutely. We're very happy to have you, Lynn, and thank you for sharing that. Devin, we're always happy to have you back with us here, assimilating in the global community with GatherVerse. Please briefly let us know who you are and why you're here at this discussion.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I'm a little under the weather right now, so
sorry to hear that.
My voice if it starts to be weird. But I am a educator. I teach kids how to build web sites and WebXR experiences. Worked for multiple companies doing the same thing that I'm doing now, but I mainly focus on education in underserved communities, and that is where I'll leave it.
Thank you so much, Devin. We're very happy to have you here, and we certainly hope you feel better. Thank you with whatever residual energy you have to be able to spend a little bit of time with us in this roundtable discussion. And that leads us into David. David, we're very happy to have you here to be able to assemble with you once again. It's good to see you. And please.
Good to see you, Christopher. My name is David Benjamin. I am the founder of the Meta Layer Initiative. I'm the author of the MetaWeb, the next level of the internet. So a lot of my focus these days is how we can create a meta environment above the web page. And the crucial thing about it is that it would actually contain AI potentially. And I also work on Bitcoin ordinals, but that's kind of my fun work. This other work is the serious piece.
What brings you here, David, to this important discussion on safety, in particular, thinking about protecting my body, thoughts, and identity?
What brings me is the absolute lack of conversation about the only real solution in my mind. There's all this talk about regulation, et cetera, but that's not actually going to work because the malicious actors aren't going to follow regulations. So we actually need to be thinking about AI containment. Many of you may never even heard that term because it's not really used that much. I looked on Google and it's basically a flat line. AI safety, there's some conversation about, but containment, controlling and containing, constraining what an AI can do within an environment is where it's at. And the only real environment that makes sense, that would be scalable, would be the space above the web page. So that's what I'm bringing, and that's why I'm here.
Russell, please.
Yes, I don't know what happened there. I seem to have had a internet connection issue somehow, even though apparently I was fine on my side of things. It's like I was in my own little metaverse. So, but anyway, Majitsu, can you hear me okay? Is everything good? Just give us a thumbs up if you can.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, Majitsu, over to you. 30-second introduction from yourself, and then we'll move forward from there. So, Majitsu, why are you here today?
All right. First of all, my name is Majiso Daniel Moses. Thank you, Rosa Bondi, for that. I'm the executive director of Africa Tech for Development Initiative, a body that's focused on ensuring that there is growth and development in areas of research, in areas of sustainable practices and ethical, responsible AI development, particularly in the global South, Africa. And this conversation is one that interests me so well. Well, we cannot talk about AI without knowing the pros and cons of AI. And I always refer to AI as a two-edged sword. And what does that mean? There are merits and demerits in its usage. And if we are to use AI and ensure AI is adopted both in the global south and the global north, we must understand the influence of AI on personal autonomy. And this topic, I found it very crucial. Like the last speaker said, the other speaker said, there is little or no conversation in this area. And this is very, very paramount if we are to call for a holistic adoption of artificial intelligence. So this safety summit is very, very important.
Well, thank you for joining us, Mijitsu, and it's good to see you again as well. And Mamadou, welcome. A quick 30-second introduction from yourself of who you are, and Mijitsu, if you can remute your microphone again, that'd be good.
Yeah, okay. Thanks everyone for having me. My name is Mamadou Diallo from Dakar, Senegal, in West Africa. So I'm a French speaker first, so excuse me if my English is not really okay. So I'm the lead developer and the program manager at MetaFreak, where we are in West Africa trying to leverage like the XR industry, trying to make it known to people, make people to know what is the interest, what are the pros and cons, like Majutsu said. So mostly on the AR, VR, and AI most of the time. And the reason why I'm here is like everybody else, is to talk mostly about like the safety, how we can safeguard ourselves while using all those technologies, mostly AI in this case.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, AI safety is extremely important. I think it's something that hasn't been spoken about enough, and it should be talked about more, which is it just isn't. But thank you very much for joining us, Mamadou. And in this roundtable, obviously, we're going to be talking about protecting my body, thoughts, and identity, understanding AI's influence on a personal autonomy. So this is going to be a very interesting discussion and panel. I'm sure Christopher has made an excellent introduction already on this topic, but obviously I want to reintroduce it myself. So we'll start with the very first question. Christopher, stop. I will start with the very first question, which is, how do we guarantee AI respects personal autonomy while driving innovation in healthcare and personal devices? I think this is an extremely important subject to be covered and to be spoken about. So I'm going to basically bring you in, Majitsu, on this, because I think you'll have a lot of tech expertise on how this can be used for healthcare and personal devices. And then we'll also go over to David after. So Majitsu, over to you first. Can you hear me, Majitsu?
Yes, amazing. I can. I'm live. Okay, first of all, when we talk about AI usage in health, it cuts across lots of areas. The importance of artificial intelligence in the health sector cannot be overemphasized. It has changed the health narrative and made health more accessible, particularly in remote communities. Nevertheless, there are bound to be challenges in AI usage in the health sector, particularly when we refer to its usage of individualization of health challenges and needs. And then how can we ensure that there is autonomy that is maintained in the health sector? First of all, we must ensure that the recommendations of AI systems, particularly when used in health forums, are not mandatory. The recommendations should not be mandatory. Most they should be suggestive. For instance, an AI system that checkmates the blood pressure of a patient can make recommendation based on the fact that that patient needs to have, a physical meeting with a human doctor, and that emphasizes the fact that human autonomy is sustained. Because if we give AI the autonomy of humans to decide when and how humans, have access to health treatments, then the human autonomy is gone. So we must sustain human autonomy by ensuring that AI systems are not conclusive. Their decisions are just recommendatory and not final. That's one method we can ensure personal autonomy is sustained in the health sector. In addition, we can also ensure that AI systems only serve a particular purpose. For instance, when we talk about privacy issues, the data of patients should not be kept at the whims and caprice of AI systems alone. There should be an oversight function. Humans should be able to determine whether this data are being shared to third parties as well. That way, we can also protect human autonomy in the health sector. Another way is to ensure that there is a human element in the loophole. We do not give AI 100% access or 100% role to play in the health sector. There should be a human role that intercedes whether this AI have made right decisions or not, and that's called for explainability of decisions before the decisions are taken finally by the humans. So these are the few ways we can ensure human autonomy in the health sector.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that, Majisu, and I agree with you on a lot of those aspects. I mean, obviously, ChatGPT have allowed a way in which you can be anonymized now. When you join them, so that's one good thing now. Is a lot of people are joining ChatGPT now because of that, right? Because you can have the option to anonymize. But David, I'm very curious to kind of hear sort of like the layer that you're speaking about on top of AI. Especially when it comes to like the autonomy side, for innovation in healthcare and personal devices. How could this layer of the meta layer, for example, be used on top of this to maintain autonomy?
Well, I think that's the beauty of creating a new environment. You get the opportunity to set the rules and really determine how all the agents, not just the artificial ones, but also humans, you can determine how they interact. So if you've created this layer in a way that's expansive enough that it provides the sufficient spaces and connectivity among the different issues that you're trying to address, and it's accessible to enough the people, then you have this possibility with strong authentication and uniqueness to know who's in human and who's an AI agent. And if you do that, then if you're able to make that distinction, then you can have rules for both the humans and the AI. And of course, encryption and cryptography would be used to really govern and enforce these rules. But it creates a situation where you actually can guarantee that there are only certain things that the AI can do. And same thing with humans as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think when it comes to AI agents, that's a whole different ballgame. We're talking about, chain of thought and everything like that, and potentially being able to, even potentially, duplicate themselves and learn themselves from their own data and everything like that, and train itself up, etc. When it comes to that sort of level, it's a complete different level. And when it comes to autonomy, we definitely need to make sure that that is obviously at the forefront. Because obviously, safety is extremely, important concern. So, but yeah, thank you very much for sharing, David. And which leads me on to my next question, which is, how do we guarantee AI respects personal autonomy while driving innovation in healthcare? Well, I've just read that. We're on the next one, aren't we? My bad. All right, next one. What are the key risks of AI infringing on personal privacy and identity, and how can they be mitigated? Very interesting question. Devin, we'll bring you onto this, and then Lynn, I'll be interested to hear what you have to say on this as well. So over to you, Devin.
Thank you, Russell. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Like I said, if you hear me sniffling, I'm a little sick. But one thing I know for certain, as far as with AI and personal privacy, that I'm concerned about most is data breaches and data, my personal data being breached by an AI system, and then not only it being breached, but also the misuse of that data. Because sensitive personal data can be hacked or misused, and it's hacked and misused by humans, let alone these advanced AI systems. You don't know what they're going to do with it. You don't know where this information may go, how it may be utilized in many different ways, and that scares me. It does. And as far as how that could be mitigated, I would just say implementing strong data security and encryption measures.
I definitely think, you know, that's a big factor. Also, I would say as well how the data is used.
Yeah.
Right. You know, you sign up, they use their data, you know, use your data to learn, etc. Know your personal data, and then all of a sudden it's like, now all of a sudden we know everything about you, Devin. We know where you eat, you know where you sleep, we know where you go. You know, that is you know, a big concern as well. So obviously I know there's anonymous techniques which can be used, right, to try and protect people's privacy, etc., like behind the scenes. However, you know, it is an important big factor. And I'm going to bring you in on this, Lynn, as well. You know, what are your thoughts on this too? And thank you for sharing, Devin. I mean,
yeah, I think for me, I do feel robbed. I think that's one of the risks that I'm keen on. I feel robbed with my autonomy. Let's even go back to narrow AI, when before even the boom of generative AI. Let's just start with narrow AI, when companies, big tech companies like Meta or Facebook or Google, you just think about searching of something and it immediately brings you what you wanted to search for. For example, I wanted to search for what is the tallest building in Africa. And that is what exactly it suggests. And you wonder, is this thing reading my mind? How did it know I wanted to search for the tallest building where I am here in Africa? Or how did it know that this is the kind of dress that I wanted, so that it appears on my Instagram feed and I am forced to buy it? You know, such kind of influence. And how I look at it is, for me, it's being robbed. I do feel robbed every time when I see something that was on my mind or something that I was talking about, and that is what I see on my feed. I do feel really uncomfortable about that. And I'm not the only one. Most of us have had that experience. And to some extent, I've had friends who said, is this thing magic? Why does it just give me what I want, the music that I want? You know, it's
magic.
Because it has studied you, it has known what you like doing, where you do travel, and that is what it gives you. For some advantage, it is good because you go direct straight to the point what you want. But when it becomes a behavior or a habit, it's risky for me. How to mitigate that? I'm still not sure because I feel helpless. Perhaps one of you has the solution and how to learn from that.
I mean, obviously, you know, there's a lot of ways to sort of mitigate that. I mean, obviously, that comes back to the whole frameworks, right, and how that's done on the back end side. So I definitely think with the right, you know, frameworks in place and the right, you know, procedures and systems, you know, that can, a lot of issues can be mitigated, you know, with that. And that's why, you know, I'm putting together a, you know, universal verification framework within all this to be, you know, to be able to verify everything across the board and across the world, with no matter what the AI model is and no matter what the AI system is as well. So, which leads me on to my next question, which is, how do you view the growing influence of AI in understanding, you know, human thoughts, behaviors, and identities. And I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this panel. So, Mamadou, I'll bring you on this. And then I'm also curious to hear your perspective, David, as well on that, on how you view it. So, Mamadou, over to you.
Oh yeah. Oh, thank you. So I think it's influence. It's at the same time good and bad. It's always like two sides of it. So the first thing is that it can help you on whatever you want to do. Like for example, it depends on how you want to use the AI, what type of information you give it, so that when you have on what you're thinking, whatever you are thinking, you think of something and you want its input on it, so it can give you input. But that can also be dangerous because some people may be dependent on it, be like, oh, I have to do this, so let me just go and ask an AI on how to do it. So that can be a dangerous thing for us because we can't become dependent on it like people who smoke or drink.
Right.
Where the more you use it, the more it can be dangerous for you. Yes, it helps you a lot on a lot of things, but sometimes also it doesn't help you. So let's say, for example, the other day with the Meta, like the Meta Connect, people were saying like, oh, I can now speak to my what is it, the AR glasses, and I can see everything, and I can just speak to my glasses. That can also reduce some human interactivity on how you interact with other people. So instead of asking people, oh, what is this place, or where can I go from here, you can directly ask the AI. So that can be actually dangerous on it. So that's the take I have on it. So like I said,
Mm.
it's at the same time good because it helps you a lot on multiple things, but it can also like reduce the human interactivity that you have with other people and that type of stuff.
Thank you for sharing, Mamadou. And yeah, I agree with you on a lot of that. You know, the fact they can understand what you're thinking or what your behaviors are and who you are and what you do and who you are as a person and have your own identity, and people saying about the twin versions of themselves and everything like that as well. You know, there's a lot of parts to that. And also, I just want to quickly mention, Rose says, I see many people exploiting the program already. I'm pretty sure that she's referring to the message, that the thing that we was talking about earlier. But David, yeah, over to you. You know, how do you view the growing influence on AI and sort of understanding human thoughts, etc.?
Well, I see it as a tool having, you know, both positive and negatives. On the positive side, I think there's this tremendous potential for us to learn more about ourselves with AI. I just can imagine a future where the information from my Fitbit, if I had one, plus all the information from my activity on the web, plus my activity from my phone, and all that was going into an AI, and that AI is the only one that actually has access to my data because I have data sovereignty, and
Right.
that AI is. What were you gonna say?
No, I mean, I was just also thinking as well, like as you was just talking there, like about the computer chips, right? And putting computer chips inside your head. Like, obviously, I know that's another level, but obviously, I was just thinking that as you was talking. But please continue what you're saying, and then we'll get to that next because I'm very curious to hear your thoughts on that as well.
Yeah, and so what I'm just imagining, if the type of analytics and information that they're currently using AI to understand us and figure out what we should buy or what we'd be inclined to buy, and how it actually influence in that way. If that same level of understanding of technology was brought to bear to help us better understand ourselves, that could be completely transformative. Because information, I mean, money is one thing, but information is worth way more than money because you use information to make money, and if
Right.
you have the best information, it's like, just imagine if you had, say, one of your most admired persons as a mentor, and you are into them because they obviously are going down a path that you're interested in going in. They can give you information that's incredibly helpful, that can really make your career completely different than it would have been without that help. And
Right.
what I'm imagining is that with all the information about me, my personal AI could help me make much, much, much better decisions than I'm making right now. It's kind of like having insider trading, on myself in a way. I have insider information.
Yeah, like advanced analytics of David. You're like, where are we going to be going? Like, this way. That's brilliant.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh wow, David, you might want to think about this person that you're talking to now.
Sure.
She seems very much like the last three. Maybe you're in a pattern.
But no, yeah, I agree with you, David, 100%. It is a scary time. It's a scary thing, and obviously, at the same time, it also helps advance you in so many ways as well. It's just obviously that sort of balance, and it kind of goes back to how do we do this in an ethical way? How do we make sure that things are unbiased? How do we make sure that the companies are accountable? How do we make sure they're transparent in what they do, etc., etc.? It comes back to all that really at the end of the day, and that's the bottom line. But thank you so much for sharing, David, and I completely agree with you. Analytical David sounds really awesome.
I want him.
I'm sure he'll be spun up soon. So my next question, which is, and by the way, I can see a little bit of chat going on in the group chat quickly, so I'll just quickly mention. They're talking about currently right now that AI was made 50 years ago. That is true. I don't know what they're talking about. They're talking about, and Time is saying about the advancement of technology will lead to regulations. That's already, I'm pretty sure that's already happening. But anyway, next question, which is how can individuals maintain control over their own data and personal information in an AI-driven world? And I mean, there's no really solid solution for this, but Majitsu will bring you on this, and then Devin will bring you on as well. So Majitsu, what are your thoughts on this? Majitsu, you need to sort of unmute your microphone. Lovely job.
Okay. Yes. How can individuals maintain control over their own data and personal information?
Yeah.
That is very crucial for there to be a regular audits of what data you're sharing. Individuals must understand that the data they share is subject to sharing by third parties or sharing to third parties. So there must be a careful examination of the type of data you share. Just yesterday, I was discussing with some persons, and I said, your email is even shared to third parties without your knowledge. So if individuals know that their personal data can be shared to third parties without their, authorization, it makes them to be careful before they share their personal data. So personal audit and regular audit of personal data shared is very, very important. Also, there should be individuals should learn how to use services that make reliance on privacy. That is, privacy-focused services and tools should be what individuals should, advance towards using, and to ensure that their personal data are protected. Because if you want to control your personal data and personal information, you must know the organization or the medium you're entrusting your personal data to. That's to help solve unauthorized data usage or unauthorized data sharing. Most of these platforms have data policies, and once you read their data policies and you don't agree with them, you should not go ahead to share or give your personal data. So awareness is very, very integral. I think that was early this year where persons were having issues with TikTok, their user policy awareness and all that, and they said they were hiding some kind of facts from these end users. And that brings us to individuals knowing the kind of platforms they also engage with in sharing their personal data. Another issue is the one of we supporting regulations that give users more control over their data. Oftentimes, there are no regulations that protect end users over their data. There should be more enthronement of regulations that give individuals more power to use their data, decide how their data is shared, decide how their data is also stored. And if there are powerful regulations that advance user interest, I think users will have more influence in controlling not just their data, but also their private policies.
Here's the thing. I mean, I had a conversation the other day with a friend of mine, and he was saying about, basically like social media, right? And we've only just got up to speed, right, with social media data and how that works and how to protect that, etc. But then when it comes to AI and AI safety and AI data, that's a whole different ballgame. That's a whole different level. So when it comes when it comes to data in particular, okay, we can put these things in place which users can use, right, to protect their data, etc. But how many people are going to be educational enough to know that they can do that, or know that they can protect their data in order to be able to do that? Because most people won't care, right? They won't care at first, but as soon as 5-10 years come down the line, then they will, right? Which is kind of like what happened to social media, right? The first 5 years, people were like, "Way, I can be social, etc." But then now, it's kind of like, "Oh my god, I want to protect my data. Like, you can't see this, and this is private, and blah blah blah." So my question to you, Magistu, and I just want to fire this back at you, and then Devin will go across to you because we've got to finish things up. Actually, we've got 2 minutes left. So actually, Magistu, I'm gonna have to quickly stop there. Sorry, I've got to go to Devin on this. So Devin, what are your thoughts on that quickly of what I just said, in terms of sort of like the social media side and kind of where we're up to? And Mamadou, I'm sorry I can't get around to you, but we've literally got 2 minutes. So I appreciate you being here and thank you very much for joining us. But Devin, I just want to fire this last question at you. Oh, apparently we have 10 minutes, so never mind. There's me finishing up 2 minutes time. And then I just been told we've got 10 minutes. So Devin, so we'll go back again. Magistu, what are your thoughts on what I said, about the social media thing and stuff? And then Devin will go to you after. So what are your thoughts on what I just said about social media and the data and then AI and then the data and stuff now?
Okay, I believe that there should be an overview of how AI education on use of these AI systems is being spread. And that brings the place of civil society organizations. The place of advocacy cannot be overflowed when we talk about individuals understanding the demerits of the AI systems they use. And for them to understand that, there must be a grassroots mobilization, education of the merits and demerits of the AI systems, particularly with respect to their data, particularly in respect to their privacy issues. And like you said, most persons are not aware, but there needs to be a medium to create that awareness. We can create awareness in schools, in colleges, we can create awareness in universities, we can create awareness in marketplaces, we can create awareness everywhere for people to understand that their data really matters and their privacy is top-notch when AI systems is concerned. So there is a place for civil society organizations to advance advocacy in remote areas of the society, in everywhere, so that people have this first-hand awareness on how to share their data, how to use their data, and also how to protect their data.
I agree with you, Magistu. I really do. And I just hope that does happen and that is true and that everyone can become educational on it. And Rose is just saying, when the regulations are not understanding AI, how can they be regulated? That is a good question. Very, very good question. But obviously, that's not the question we're going to be asking for this panel. So my question to you, Devin, which is, what should be the limits of AI in influencing or even controlling decisions about our bodies and health? So, very interesting question. It might be a bit of a complicated one, but I'll fire this one to you, Devin.
No problem. I think it just also goes back to what you two were just talking about. It just goes back to doubling down on data awareness, being aware of how the data is used, and then also engaging in AI literacy, more education about what AI is doing, what it's doing with your data, and how to prevent certain things from being accessed and used in certain ways. And then also, I think it also can be attributed to exercising consent, being actively managing permissions. Because a lot of the times we just go through social media, we just go through these apps, these applications, just willy-nilly just accepting everything without reading what we're actually, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But without reading what we're accepting. And a lot of times we're just throwing our data. We're like, here. And then once it gets used, or it's used for shopping, it's used to target us for marketing, we want to get upset and be like, oh, how'd you know that? Well, because you agreed to it. So I'll just say advocating for, number one, stronger regulations as far as policy, and then also exercising consent and just doubling down on data awareness and data and AI literacy.
I agree. I think it's multifaceted. I really think it's multifaceted. I think, again, it comes back to the verification framework, which I said about, that's kind of like the start of it all, right? Or the starting point of it all. But again, it also comes to the user's end too, right? And how we've been saying on multiple panels already, which is, if I'm an end user and I'm using that, I should know how to use it or how to not use it or what to do or etc. So I think there's kind of multiple layers to us, and I think if we have the right sort of frameworks in place, which people actually use, and also the right sort of regulations and policies, and actually follow everything that we need to from a safety standpoint, which is bias and ethically and accountability and transparency, etc. Then I think AI would be a better place, but we just got to make sure that companies do that, and then also the end users are educated enough as well to do that as well, and be able to use it. Will people want to be educated? Maybe not, right? But will in the AI age, as we called it, are people going to have to learn and adapt? Absolutely. So at some point they're going to have to learn it. So
it's like a pilot who is going to fly a plane. There's no way he's going to be able to get that plane off the ground, or they won't even let him or let them get off the ground or get in the plane until they know everything they need to know about that machine.
That's true. That's
true. It's the same thing how we have to operate as users with AI, because it will take advantage. It will definitely be to our detriment if we don't understand everything about it.
I agree, Devin. Thank you so much for sharing and being here as well. Mamadou, I'm going to bring this question to you, which is, how do we guarantee AI does not, perpetrate, biases that could negatively impact individual autonomy and identity?
Oh, so that's a hard question, because the AI depends on the information that was fed to it actually, and so the information that's fed to it is usually biased by the person or the people that are inputting that information. So I think the most important thing is that the information that is inputted, like that the AI is trained on, it must be like representative of different type of populations, so that it can guarantee a certain level of non-bias, sort of thing. So I think that's the most important thing, because the AI always, the bias or not bias of the AI will depend on the data on which it was trained on.
Right. Mm-hmm. No, I mean, I think that's perfectly pointed out, but at the same time, I think if there is a way in which everyone can follow the same sort of thing, that there won't be any sort of bias, right? I mean, for example, if companies keep individually doing their own sort of internal sort of like frameworks, so that they can test their models with, etc., then there's always going to be some sort of bias towards that.
Yes, and I think the best thing to do on that level is to have some sort of auditing of the data that the AI is being trained on. So
interesting.
Some external entities or companies may do some auditing of the data on which the AI is being trained on, to make sure that the information that is in there is not biased or doesn't negatively impact some population or certain category of people.
Yeah, that's why I think verification will come in. That would be so important in that bit, and have an independent party that can do that, some sort of collaborative place.
And mostly some sort of somebody said it actually in the YouTube chat, some sort of diversity and inclusivity of the data on which the AI is going to be trained on.
So we've literally, actually, we are genuinely running out of time this time. So thank you very much, Mamadou. Welcome back, David, as well. And Rose, she's saying, assuming that everyone is involved in the technology case, I agree, Devin. Yes, Mamadou, that's why diversity is a must. So thank you very much for sharing your thoughts, Rose. Now, on to pretty much the last question now, because we've got 3 minutes. So, well, actually, we really don't have much time. We'll fire this one to you, David. You've got to be very quick on this, though, like literally 30 seconds, maybe a minute max. and then we'll have to jump out, which is, how do emerging technologies take, like AI, challenge the concept of personal identity, and what safeguards are needed? So you're gonna have to just do a quick synopsis on this one.
Well, identity is going out the window because AIs can multiplicate, millions of different instances of themselves. They can copy people. It's pretty crazy what can happen with respect to that. What safeguards are needed? We need a safe environment. We need to create an environment where everything that goes on with respect to the AI's actions and interactions is governed by an actual blockchain ledger potentially. But essentially, we need to constrain the AI, and you can't do that with regulations, really. I mean, it's kind of the start, but not the end.
Not the pace AI is going at. But thank you so much, David, for sharing your thoughts. Thank you to all the panelists here for today. Mamadou, Majitsu, Davin, thank you so much, guys, for joining. That is it from GatherVerse Safety Summit 2024 on October the 2nd. Thank you, everyone, for joining us from the GatherVerse.live, all the different social media streams and social media platforms. Thank you, Rose, for joining us as well. You commented so much, so thank you for commenting loads, and everyone else for being part of this amazing community and for this amazing summit. And that is pretty much from me. Lewis is going to be up next because he's got a special talk for everyone here to watch. And yeah, so apparently it's not the end. I've just been told. So I'm sorry, Christopher. But yeah, Lewis is up next, but it's over from our panel at least anyway. So thank you very much for joining me, and have a great day.